In this video, we're working on how to use a rule to create an XY table. So for this one, if we look at our web over here, we're starting with the rule, and then we're trying to use that rule to create a table. And then also in class, we'll be working on using that table in order to create a graph. Okay, so we have our expression or our equation, y equals 2x plus 1. And remember that the x is the input. It's the number that you're putting in, and then we're going to get out the y value or the output. For this table, they didn't tell us which x values to use, but I usually try to use some negatives and some positives so we can get a good picture of the graph. So if we think about a graph, I'm going to pick some negative values so we get something over here, and then some positive values so we get something over here, and then also 0 so we get something in the middle. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to choose -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so let me write our equation up here. So remember, the x is the input, so I'm going to input that number into the equation. So we have y equals 2, and instead of writing the x, I'm going to put a -2 in there because that's the number over here. Okay, and then I want to figure out what this equals so that I can figure out what y equals. Okay, so 2 times -2 is -4, and then -4 plus 1 equals -3. So this is what I get for the y value. So now we have a coordinate point. So I have -2 is the x value, because that's from over here. And then we just figured out that y equals -3. Okay, so again, we start with our x, and then we plug it in so we can get out the y value, the output. Okay, let's do the same thing for the next one. Okay, so y equals 2, and again, we're writing the original equation, but we're plugging in the x value for that row. All right, so 2 times -1 is -2, plus 1 is -1. So again, this is our y value. So over here, our point is -1, because that's our x, and then for y, we got -1 as well. And we're just going to keep doing that down the list. So every time I'm starting with the blue equation, but instead of an x, I'm putting in the number that's in the column over here. Okay, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Okay, so for x, we have 0. And then for y, we got 1 right here. Okay, so for this one, we have y equals 2. And we're going to plug in a 1 this time. So 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3, so this point will be 1, 3, and last one, this time we're plugging in the number 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so our last point is 2, 5. So again, to recap, we are plugging in a number for the input right here, so the number over here. And then once we plug that in, we figure out what the answer is, and that tells us the value for y. And then we have a coordinate point in the column to the right over here.